I saw a scene of a being dreaming worlds. The crazy thing is though, I start walking away from the stadium and I feel cold. I literally feel cold. And as soon as I said, oh my God, I feel cold, it starts snowing. My second out-of-body experience, I found myself in my hallway. And as soon as I found myself in my hallway, I was like, oh shoot. I didn't say, oh shoot, I said, oh shit. Sorry about that. I don't know if I should curse. I said, oh shit, I don't want to see my body. Because I know if I go to my bedroom right now, I'm about to see my body and that's going to freak the hell out of me. The reality changed around me. And I remember walking upstairs to different layers of reality. One layer was like a nightclub, but I remember there was a woman I was talking to, all dressed in white. She's just very calm, and we're having a deep conversation about love. And I'm like, man, this is the wildest thing.
Hello once again, and welcome to Out of Body Stories. My name's Emma. And as always, we've got another edition of Out of Body Stories long form for you, where we welcome Jonadeen. In this episode, he shares so much, so much. It's actually really fascinating. He talks a little bit initially about his magic mushroom experience and then the out-of-body experiences that he's had subsequently. He also talks and shares about his channeling, some of his meditation techniques. It is something you just cannot miss. As always, as I've always asked, please like, share, comment. Everything you do helps the channel. But anyway, for now, let's dive in. First of all, Jonadeen, really lovely to have you on board today. Thank you so much for agreeing to share your story. Maybe we can start off with you just telling everybody a little bit about yourself and then we could go from there.
Yeah, so my name is Johnadeen Albertini. I live in Canada now, but I'm originally from the island of St. Lucia in the Caribbean. And I've lived in this country since I was 8 years old. Yeah, I love Canada and I love the people here. And there's not really too much about my life I can say, but from a young age, I was always into spirituality and philosophy. I was a big philosophy buff, so I think that's really helped my growth and development.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did you at any point during, your early years feel like you wanted to explore, have any thoughts or feelings about exploring any spiritual realms or anything like that? Was there anything at all on your radar?
The crazy thing is that, from just a younger age, I just had a calling to learn about different religions and learn about different philosophies, and I didn't know where that came from.
Okay.
I just was pulled to it.
Okay.
I had no clue why I was interested, but it was very interesting, though.
And any sort of religious upbringing at all? Did anything influence you? Was there anybody you could think of in your life that maybe gave you a book or gave you something?
Well, I'm from a predominantly Roman Catholic background.
Okay.
It's pretty much fire and brimstone and all the rest.
Wow.
Yeah, and so yeah, I kind of wanted to break away from that and sort of explore my philosophical horizons, I would say.
Okay. And growing up, was there any book or just anything that influenced you that you can think of?
Funny you should say that. Wildest thing ever is that I used to pick up some books, right? And I remember when I was younger, I read this book on how to create miracles in your life, and I don't know how this book came to me.
Yeah.
Or even where I got that, but I remember just briefly reading it and just discarding it and just saying, you know what, it's not very interesting. I don't want to read it. But I got a calling to read it, and I think that's what really pulled me into developing more, learning about more spirituality and reading more books.
Okay. Fantastic. And so you had an extremely powerful mushroom trip, 8-gram mushroom trip. I mean,
Yeah.
that is way more than a heroic dose. So I would love to know, more about that trip.
Okay.
Give us a bit of set.
This trip was, I'm going to tell you about this trip because it has formed the rest of my spiritual experiences. It is like the most beautiful experience I think I've ever had in my life. I don't think any experience in my life will ever come to this trip, could compare to this trip. So last year I was with my partner and I was feeling a little bit depressed and really down, and I do have a bit of trauma from my past, right? So I was like, you know what, I gotta do something. I know that mushrooms have helped. So we have a mushroom store here in Canada called Fungi's Magic Mushrooms. So I went to the magic mushroom store and I said, you know what, I'm gonna try the 8 gram bag. So what I did is I got a little bit of cannabis and I started eating the 8 grams of magic mushrooms, and it was nighttime. And I remember I was watching TV, and slowly I started seeing the effects. I saw geometrical shapes started coming in, and I started hearing my inner voice. It was almost like my subconscious mind speaking to me, right? And then the voice stops. The voice stops, and I'm laying in bed, and I remember seeing this big wave of energy, and then a song being played that sings Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Thoughts create reality. And it was as if angels or beings were chanting this song. And I just smiled. The biggest smile came off my face. It was the most liberating thing.
Okay.
Because at that point, I realized that I could change my life. I was not burdened with trauma anymore. I was no longer I was no longer imprisoned in my thought loop. I could change my reality with my thoughts. So I even remember asking my subconscious mind, or what I refer to as the I am, the observer of my thoughts. I remember asking my subconscious mind, even what I fear, and even what I fear comes true, and my subconscious mind says, repeated that chant, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Thoughts create reality, and I was so I was just filled with joy and love, and intense love just radiated from me. It
So
was a
how did it
beautiful
present
spiritual
itself?
experience.
Was it all sort of almost like a download, or did you feel? Was it a feeling, or was it also the visuals and everything as well?
It was all three: feeling, visuals, auditory. I saw scenes of, oh my gosh, this is even crazier. So I saw scenes of an event that happened, an experience of an event that happened. So I was going through a breakup a long time ago, and I was at a bookstore. I think it was Chapters or Indigo at the time, and I was just sipping some tea, and I saw this guy. We had a conversation. It was some sort of shaman or some sort of spiritual healer, and he was telling me about out of body experience and how he goes through meditations and out of body experience. And after the conversation, I was about to leave. He says, "Oh, by the way, I hope you remember that your thoughts create reality." I saw that experience in my magic mushroom trip. And then I started seeing books that I've read from the past that said thoughts create reality. And then I started seeing an experience where my boss was telling me, you know, you can do anything if you focus. And I was like, what the hell's going on here? And it was as if my mind was clicking in and saying, my subconscious mind, or the great I am inside of me was saying, he finally gets it. He finally
Okay.
gets it. He's awakening to the fact that he's no longer just pigeonholed in his experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And was it a case of like your brain almost like cycling through real moments in your life that all linking to that phrase at various different moments? Or was it a case of like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So all the times that you'd almost heard that before
Yeah. All the
or
times that
seen
I've
it
almost
or
heard it
read it.
before,
Yeah. But now you were like
or
feeling it.
read it, or
It wasn't,
somebody.
yeah, it wasn't just a case of you sort of, it was like you were embodying it. You were actually, okay, I get it. Like I understand, I get it, I
Yeah.
feel it. Yeah. And all
I
senses.
feel it
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in all
Yeah. Yeah.
senses. And the craziest thing about this mushroom trip is that my level of clarity, I was the most clear that I've ever been when that experience happened. It was as if somebody was taking off the veil from my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Had you ever
It was
taken
beautiful.
mushrooms before, or was that the first time that you had actually
No,
left.
I've taken mushrooms before, but I've only just taken small amounts of magic mushrooms.
Yeah.
The mushrooms I took that night were golden teachers, and those were the ones that I'm typically used to, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And so after that point, where did it go? Like what did you experience?
Yeah, after that point, what started to happen is that I heard another song that says, I am God and there is no other.
Uh,
And I
What was
was
the
like,
song?
what's going on here?
Okay.
Yeah, a song. Literally sung. It was being sung to me. And then I saw visuals of other people in my life. And then I actually saw, it was, I saw a scene of a being dreaming worlds. So
A
I
being.
saw a being that was dreaming worlds.
Okay. What did the being look like? Where were you in
So,
relation to the being?
so it was my imagination using it as like a metaphor. So I saw what I would consider God, which was this man, but he was there sleeping and dreaming worlds together, right? But
Okay.
all of the worlds that he was dreaming, all of the dreams that he was dreaming, were just characters in a story. So he was creating stories with his dreams.
Right. Right.
And then the download came that all this life is God's story. He puts himself in stories and pretends that he's a character in these stories. And his thing is that he forgets each time.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Interesting. And
Yes.
that I guess
Oh,
that
go ahead.
whole link of like oneness that, everybody always when they have either experiences like this or spiritual experience, there's always this connection with oneness, right? That okay, we're all one. So did you get that feeling that okay, I'm just, I'm an embodiment of God just having a human experience? Did you get that sense?
Yeah, I got that sense, but it was kind of scary too. It was kind of scary. The reason
Yeah.
why I would say it's kind of scary to know this information is the fact you start to realize that you don't really exist. The real you, the real character,
Yeah.
is God. And he's just
Yeah.
pretending to be you.
Right.
And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I was like, that's the craziest thing because it kind of scared me at first, but then when I think about it, it's the most beautiful thing ever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
It's the
so
most beautiful thing
how long
ever.
was this trip overall? Like the that you were on?
It was, I would say, 6 to 7 hours.
Okay, well,
It was 6 to 7 hours of just pure information being downloaded.
yeah,
But that's not the craziest thing that started happening. After the mushroom trip, a couple of weeks ago, what happens then is that I decide I want to get out of my body, right? But I've got to. So me personally, I have a thing about seeing my body. So I said to my mind, I said, look, I'd like to leave my body, but I don't want to see my body. I actually don't because for me that would freak me out.
yeah,
I know other people would be kind of comfortable seeing their body, but
yeah.
I said to myself, I'm not seeing my body. So I go up I go out and I start sleeping and I sleep on my right hand side like this and all of a sudden I'm at a party. I'm at a party. What looks like a house party. People drinking beers, people smiling, people talking. There were some big guys. He's me telling some jokes. So I go up to hug this girl. My arm goes right through her, and I'm feeling what looks like jello, and I'm feeling the sensation of jello, right?
Okay,
And as soon
okay.
as I say to myself, I'm feeling the sensation of what looks like jello, and as soon as I say to myself, wow, these people aren't physical. I kind of want them to be physical. Immediately, they become physical.
They become physical. Hold on.
Immediately,
Okay, so
they become physical.
a couple of questions before we go into this story. Have you had out of body experiences
Sorry.
before? Have you had out of body experiences
Yes,
before?
I.
Yes. Okay. And
So
those experiences, did they come have they happened before the mushroom trip, or is this something that's happened as a result of this
no, so
mushroom
I've
experience?
before the magic mushroom experience, I've had sleep paralysis before,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Okay.
After the magic mushroom trip, my out of body experiences started happening.
Right. Okay. Wow. This, just for
Mm.
everybody else at home, this magic mushroom experience that you're talking about was only, what, a few months ago, right? So winter of 2024. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So since that point, you've been having like, and you've had a number of
Strange
out-of-body
experiences.
experiences, yeah? Okay, so take us
Yeah,
through,
I
right?
was.
So this first, was this one that you're talking about now, where people became solid? Was that the first one, or was this just the one of the most profound ones that you've?
I think that's the first one, but I think that's the
Okay,
first one and the most profound one
okay.
because
Wow. So they,
I
yeah.
tend to believe that. Go ahead, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say that they became solid at the point in which you basically said it, or you kind
Yeah,
of willed it. Let's
no,
say.
because yeah, I will these people to be solid, right?
Right.
Because at first I was like, oh, this is too scary. Like my hands are passing right through these people. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is where things get wild. So
Okay.
I decided to leave the party. I decided to leave the party. I'm out in the street. It's the winter time. And there's like a big, it feels like a big stadium. It's like a football game or something, right? And people are lining up to get their tickets in there. And that this one, so I'm coming up to the guy, the ticket guy, and he's like, "Ah, oh, you're wearing nice clothes." And immediately I look down. I have a nice suit on. And let me tell you something. I love suits. I love suits. And immediately as I look down, I have a nice, clean, pressed suit on.
Okay.
So, and he smiles at me. I go into the audience. I see a man and woman. I'm talking to the man trying to get his attention, saying, "Hey, what's going on?" He's really not having it. The woman, his wife is blonde. She's smiling at me and she's like, "Hey, where are you from? What are you doing there?" Right away, I tell her, "Oh, I'm just an astral traveler."
And then what happened?
Yeah, I say to her, "I'm
I'm an
just an
astral
astral
traveler.
traveler."
And
In
what did she say?
Yeah, immediately but she said, "Oh, that's kind of cool," and I was like, "Yeah," but you know the
Yeah.
crazy thing is though, yeah, the crazy thing is though, I start walking away from the stadium and I feel cold. I literally feel cold. And as soon as I said, "Oh my God, I feel cold," it starts snowing.
Wow.
It
Okay.
starts
Okay.
snowing. And the snow, I was like, whoa, it's snowing.
Yeah. But you
And
could
I
feel it
was
as though
just,
it was real. And were you lucid? Were
yeah,
you
I
lucid throughout
felt
all
the
of this?
cold. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
It was lucid as possible. And I was like, whoa, I could feel this cold.
Yeah.
It was, but you know, I think in that, this out of body experience, it was still my subconscious mind letting me know to never forget that thoughts create reality, that
Great.
there is
Yeah.
a link between
Yeah.
thoughts and reality.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so
But
interesting.
that's not even
Yeah. Go.
but my second out of body experience, I found myself in my hallway, and as soon as I just found myself in my hallway, I was like, oh shoot. Well, I didn't say oh shoot. I said oh shit. Sorry about that. I don't know if I should curse. I said oh shit. I don't want to see my body because I know if I go to my bedroom right now, I'm about to see my body, and that's gonna freak the hell out of me. So I decided to wait a minute, and all of a sudden, the reality changed around me. And I remember walking upstairs to different layers of reality. Right? There's different
Okay.
layers of reality, and these stairs take me to different layers of reality. And I stopped on one layer. One layer was like a nightclub. So I stopped on one layer, but I can't remember how I got out of that nightclub. But I remember there was a woman I was talking to, all dressed in white. We're having a conversation about love. And she's peaceful, she's not aggressive, she's just very calm, and we're having a deep conversation about love. And I'm like, man, this is wild. This is the wildest thing.
And so hold on. This person that you were speaking to was they were speaking to you as like the way we're speaking right now. So everything
Yeah,
that she was saying to you was completely as if she had free will, completely spontaneous, saying maybe deep things. Like the interaction was the level of interaction that you would have in waking consciousness.
And this is waking
This,
consciousness.
wow. Okay. Do you
What
remember much
I
of the
have,
conversation?
I can't remember much about the conversation, no.
Just the
But I
feeling
can
around
remember
it.
this woman was different.
Like she was different.
Yeah, I can remember she was different. She was different. I remember this woman, she was just pure. Like, how do I put this? You know the feeling of being very calm? When you go into deep meditation, you get to a feeling of very
Yeah.
calmness and love.
Yeah.
If you've ever experienced very deep states of
Yeah.
meditation, that's what I felt
Okay.
when I was speaking to this woman. Not judgmental at all, just very calm, very loving presence. I don't know anybody like her. You know what I mean? Like she was white. She was wearing everything was in white. She had white gloves. Yeah, she was just talking to me like very normally.
Okay. Okay. And then what happened at that point?
And at that point, I just simply woke up.
Oh, you woke
Yeah, I
up.
just simply
Okay.
woke up, and
Okay.
yeah, like these experiences. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, sorry to interrupt you. I was going to ask you, so
No,
when you woke up in your hallway, how did you know that it was an out of body experience at that point? Was it just the feeling or
sensed it. I
you sensed
felt it.
it? Okay.
I felt that. Yeah, I felt that something wasn't right
Okay.
immediately, and immediately as I knew that something wasn't right, there was a feeling of being detached from something.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's almost like you feel like you're detached from something.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So as when I felt that feeling, I knew like it was nighttime, right? But I could see my hallway clear as day, so I sort of knew that there was something wasn't
Okay.
right
Okay.
here.
Okay. So it was almost like, so it was like it was day, right? So was there light emitting from a part of the hallway? Or, yeah.
Here's the crazy thing. The crazy thing is this: is that when I went to bed in the nighttime, right? When I found myself in the hallway, I could see the hallway perfectly. It was as if like I don't know if it's night vision or something. It was like as if my eyes could see clear as day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The light,
So
yeah.
like, go ahead.
No, was there a light source? Could you see the rays of sun coming from anywhere? And is your hallway completely like pitch black? So there's no access to, you know, I was about to say ventana, but yeah, to a window from anywhere. No.
But there is a window right here, right?
Okay,
But if
but
it's
not in the hallway.
nighttime,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, not in the hallway.
Okay.
I get the feeling that this light was coming from me though.
Okay.
I feel like this light that I'm perceiving is coming from
Yes.
me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting. Wow. That's pretty
yeah.
powerful.
But this is not even like craziest things have been happening to me in meditation, right? I start meditating and I'm seeing visuals of it's gonna sound crazy. This whole thing is gonna sound crazy. But I see visuals of aliens, and I'm talking about like ETs and gray beings. And what I'm seeing is I'm getting a visual of an alien looking at multiple
Okay.
realities, and
Take it back a
choosing
second.
ones.
Okay. When
Yeah.
you say you're seeing this vision, where are you? What's the
Oh, sorry. I'm, yeah, I'm. So this happened 2 or 3 weeks ago. I do my mindfulness meditation. I always do it in this chair, my computer chair. I love this.
Okay.
So
What
I do a
meditation are you
45-minute
doing?
meditation.
Send me the meditation as well so I can link to it.
Yeah, I'm doing a mind. I'll send you the meditation. It's a mindfulness meditation. But during the mindfulness meditation, I go super. My my breathing is very calm, very shallow. I do what is called channeling. So this is what happened after my magic mushroom trip. I realized that I was speaking to something or to somebody. And I don't want your guys to think that I'm like schizophrenic or anything like this. I understand that like who I was speaking to is myself, right? What some would call the higher self. So I'm speaking to my I am or my higher self. So when I'm meditating, I'm speaking to my inner self. And as I'm doing that, it's slowly giving me information about it's pretty much like a question and answer sort of dialogue, right? So as it's doing that, it's giving me images. It's using my imagination to show me what that would look like. So a couple weeks ago, I was asking it about multiple realities, right? And it showed me the idea that we live in multiple realities. We exist. Like, for example, I'm here as Jonadeen here right now, but I also exist in other realities simultaneously at the same
Okay.
time,
Okay.
right? I'm only accessing this version. I'm only accessing this body right now. I'm only
Okay.
aware of this.
Yeah.
But after, let's say, after I die or I move on to another reality, all possibilities are then open to me. So
All
nobody really,
possibilities.
my
Can you expand on that? All when you say all possibilities are open.
Yeah. So what I've learned from my I am, and what I've learned from my spiritual journey is that you don't exist in just one reality. You exist in multiple realities. So, for example, your dreams at night, right? Every time you have a dream, you're accessing a different level of reality, right? But here's the crazy things: when you dream, the you that's in the dream still exists. It still exists. The you that was in that dream still exists. You just wake up to a different consciousness when you wake up, but you still exist in that dream. So all your dreams are multiple realities.
Okay. So going back to the grays, what you were just saying, when you had
Yeah.
that experience or when you were channeling and you were asking those questions, you got a vision basically of projected
Yeah.
out, is that right? Of this you know, gray or alien. And what was
Yeah.
happening?
The alien was examining, so he was looking at multiple realities, almost like, almost as if you'd stack up TV screens, right? And then how my higher self showed it to me is that all these screens shrunk into one big block, almost like a Rubik's cube,
Yeah. Yeah.
almost like a Rubik's cube. And then even further, I started to see that that alien holding that Rubik's cube was even a higher Rubik's cube as
Wow.
well too.
Right, right. So almost like
So
fragmented,
what
like
it's
fractal, like a fractal kind of, so like
yeah.
a in it,
So
something within a something within something sort of thing.
within something else and within
Okay,
something else. So
okay.
I sort of believe that there's nothing, there's no end to God, right? God is infinite. God, like, consciousness can create any reality at any single point. It just can create and enter any reality.
Okay.
It's not bound by any limits. But the only thing that we have here in this life is that we have rules. When we enter into this body, what I've learned from my higher self, we enter into this body is that we have certain belief systems.
Yes.
Beliefs such as space, time, motion, entropy, that make things feel solid. I give things that
Okay.
solid feel.
Yes. Yes.
But thoughts and emotions, they influence this reality.
And so this is like it's super interesting. So you all this time you've been talking about your my I am, and you've been referring to like your higher self. So ever since
Yeah,
that mushroom experience, have you been able, is that when you say you're channeling, are you trying to connect to your higher self? See, this is something that you're intentionally doing
yeah.
as a result.
This is something that I'm intentionally doing as a result. And it's interesting because sometimes it's hard for me to, whenever I feel like it's hard for me to differentiate my thoughts from my higher self. For example, whenever I'm having a negative thought, my higher self will let me know if it's that it's say me in that negative thought, or is or was that it, or was that me generating that negative thought, right?
Yes.
Because I have some past traumas, so there's a lot of negative thoughts that sometimes pop in and pop out.
Yes. Yes.
So what I've learned from my I am is that it will let me know when those thoughts are my thoughts, my streams of thoughts coming in, or when it's the I am. I can tell when it's the I am's thoughts that coming in if I'm calm and relaxed. The I
Okay.
am speaks only when I'm calm and centered and
Okay.
stillness. I am
Okay.
is never in a frantic mode or distracted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so for you, being able
It's
to sort of connect that
yeah,
is through meditation. So, you know, the
yeah,
45-minute
meditation.
meditation that you were talking about before, are there any other techniques that you have developed as a connective point, or specifically this? And is it a meditation? Is it binaural beats? What sort of form does it take?
Honestly, I think the best way to do it is through meditation. I've tried smoking cannabis, and
Yeah.
I remember my IM was telling me, "You don't really need this. You don't need
Okay.
this to contact
Okay.
me. Just sit
Okay.
in stillness, and I will
Okay.
arrive."
Sitting in
And
stillness.
I just remember,
Yeah, go for it.
yeah, and I remember a Bible passage is there's a Bible passage about if you want to find or speak to God, to be still and know that I am God.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm doing, is just being
Okay.
still and listening.
Okay. And it's so interesting because like even hearing you say that, so my partner's a Buddhist and so I've been connected, let's say, to some chanting Nam Myoho Renge, and I remember when I first started with it a long time ago, and I've probably done like six, back in the day I used to be able to do something called a tosa, which is like 6 hours of just chanting
Whoa.
repetitively. And there were levels, there were definitely points. I typically after about 20 minutes where I'd go to a higher level of consciousness. Like you could just tell like all of the, you know, nonsense of your stream of consciousness, all of the stuff that's happened during the day, all the stresses and strains and the
Yeah.
positive just fall away, and then it's just clarity. I remember at points like being able to almost like tap into three different sounds that are going on at the same time. And you just get to this level of, I would always
Clarity.
call it like a rocket taking off. So I'd get to this level where like, okay, all of those things fall away. And then I'm just like, woo, go, like almost like building up energy. And then it's almost like lift off. And at that point, any problem that I have in that point of time, whether it be a creative problem or just something in my life, I was able to just come up with a almost like an objective solution. It's like, so I almost don't know if it was my higher self as such, but certainly it was a higher version of consciousness that just was able to solve things. There was just a clarity to it. So I feel like when you're talking, you're giving your examples, I feel like I can connect to it from that perspective for sure, because it's just like just clarity and everything. It's just so hard to do. So that's what was my question was going to be like, how do you get through for the with the chanting? I would always find it really hard that the 20 minutes of hearing my nonsense and then having to get through that and then get to almost the crescendo of like positivity, but I always found it hard.
Okay.
Yeah, what's your
Okay.
technique?
Yeah. I will. Here's an example. Imagine your mind is like a dog, right? It's a dog, and it's been in a cage for, let's say the dog's been in a cage for about 7 hours. As soon as you start meditating, you let that cage run wild. Sooner or later, that dog will get tired. It will tire. It will tire, and then it will just slowly begin to stop. And that is when meditation happens. Meditation is not something that you do. It's something that happens to you.
Okay.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when you're in when the dog relaxes, that is when you're in that stillness and that inner peace comes in. That is when you can speak to I am.
Okay. Okay.
You can ask it I am any question, and I am can deliver.
And have you found it easier since you had your mushroom experience? Like, have you found
Yeah, I
the
found
meditative state easier than before? Or do you find it almost like it's a big drive to get to that point? Like, yeah, how do you find it?
found it easier because I found out that I could as soon as I hop into my meditative state, I could speak to I am. And as I'm focusing on my breathing, we have a full conversation. And I didn't even realize that the meditation has actually started. I just realized
Okay.
that I'm getting more relaxed, but I'm still talking to I am.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Isn't that cool?
I find that
Yeah.
so interesting. Have you ever like measured your heart rate or anything at that point? Because I'm really intrigued to understand the physiological side of it as well. Like, does it coincide with like you're almost in the, yeah, in a trance state or like
No,
it'd be interesting to,
I've never measured my heart rate at all, but I should.
yeah, just to
Yeah.
see
Like,
like,
so,
yeah.
damn, I should do that. That's a good idea. Hey, look at you go, Emma.
Or even just like your brainwaves, because I'm so fascinated because I feel like when you see, I don't know, mediums like Tyler Henry, I remember, I can't remember which doctor it was, but I remember watching um, an episode or something. And I think with him, they've measured that he is going into like his brain waves change or something, and they go into like is it
Yeah.
beta? Or I can't remember what it was, but it goes into almost like a dreamlike state. So I'm really intrigued to
Mm,
understand if other, you know, other physiological data matches up. So I would love to, if I ever get to that point, to also just test that and see, yeah, if there's a correlation there as well. But no, super. So how many out of body experiences have you gone through over the last few months?
so I would only say that I've had two out of body experiences so far, right?
Okay,
But
okay,
I think I probably had them much more when I was younger, but I can't really remember them.
yeah. And the fact that you could get to sleep paralysis, you recognize that. I find that really interesting as well. So you have done that, but you hadn't previously maybe, or if you had spontaneous experiences in the past.
So I haven't had any out of body, just the sleep paralysis in the past. But what I've
Okay.
noticed though is that I'm not going to tell. I don't think everybody should do this, but I've figured out the technique that works for out of body experiences. It's a little bit of marijuana and sleeping on your back and focusing on your breath as in meditation. And what I've noticed is when that happens, I've noticed that my spirit starts to lift, and it's almost my muscles tighten up because I'm like, oh no, I know what's happening here. I know where this is going. So I
Okay.
then decide to roll over because I'm always scared. I'm always scared that when I have an out of body experience, that I'm gonna see my body, right? So
What
I think that's
scares
why
you
I
about that?
I probably
Why are you scared? What's scaring you about?
I think it's scary. I think that's I don't know actually know why I'm actually scared of seeing my body. Yeah, I don't know why. I think maybe I'm scared because it would be
Confirmation.
the final coffin in the nail confirmation that I'm not my body. Yeah, it would be like, but the
We're
funny thing is
heavily
though, I
invested,
know I'm
man.
not my body.
We are invested in these
Yeah,
bodies.
it's
This
it's
is the
like
thing. Let's be real.
yeah, that's pretty much it because like I think I'm just really scared because at that point I'll just be like, oh shoot, I really am not my body.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. And what's your goal over the coming few months? Are you going to continue to explore these gifts? Are you going to go further? Are you looking to go further? What's your goal?
Actually, this is one of my goals. I'm talking about my story, and one of my goals was to write a book and maybe or publish blog posts on what I've learned from I am. But one of my biggest goals was to share my story with somebody about my spiritual awakening.
Yay, with me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
because I I want people to know that they could, by changing their beliefs and changing their thoughts and feelings, that they could manifest anything into their lives. But that saying, I don't like how some people victim blame the new age, where they say, oh, your thoughts create your reality, so you're the one who created all your pain and suffering and all this other stuff, which I don't believe in. Yes, to a degree, your thoughts and emotions influence your reality. However, if you're not consciously doing those things, if you're not consciously intending for something bad to happen to you, then it's not your fault. You shouldn't be blamed for something like that, right? Uh, for example, if somebody experienced a trauma in their lives, yeah, we can maybe pinpoint to a fearful thought they had or a fearful feeling, but they didn't consciously choose, and I think that's where real morality comes in. is when we can say the person didn't really consciously choose that outcome.
Here,
And I
here.
think
No,
that's
for
where
sure.
real compassion and understanding
In. Agreed, agreed. And I
comes
think
in.
it's
Yeah.
really beautiful because, we all have our traumas, and it is a very powerful experience to be able to break free from the sort of constraints that can happen. I can definitely attest to that. I've had something similar in the past whereby, just yeah, miraculous chance experience just helped me to shed that and to not go, obviously not nowhere near where your experience at all, but just getting to that point of realization that, my little self had shed itself. Like that memory, let's say, was able to move on and grow up in a way, and it's so powerful because I think what most people don't realize when you have any trauma, right? It can project itself into other areas of your life that you don't even realize. You know what I mean? Like, and actually healing that trauma can help you, I don't know, increase confidence over here, or help you sort of get rid of some negative patterns over here. And it just can unlock a lot of things. But it's very, very hard to do without, a lot of therapy or the things in your case psychedelic, the mushrooms, or and other, there's lots of different ways to get to that point, but I think the point is that a lot of people may not even realize, that this trauma is the thing that's holding them back over here, you know um
Yes.
I think it's important, like you say, to share these experiences in order to for people to understand that it's an option, right? And maybe they don't want to take that
Yeah.
option, the same route, but they can understand that actually they can improve their lives, and they can, crack a particular challenge or problem that they're having. So yeah, you sharing your experience has been amazing. Like to hear that, and just the energy as well that you're bringing into this. Like, that sort of childlike, when you have an experience like this, just like takes you back to like it's the first time you've experienced this just incredible thing that's happening. Just you emit a lot of yeah, great energy around it. Just
Oh my gosh.
wonder, wonder
Emma,
and just fascination.
Emma, if you were in that room at that night, it was the most beautiful experience in my life. I like if I died today, I would say, you know what, that experience made
Yeah.
it. That experience made it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And just to round off, got a few more minutes left. Just to round off in that
Yeah.
experience. So after you had it, so obviously you went through a number of. I'm talking about the mushroom experience specifically, but after you went through and you had all of these, this feeling oneness and yeah, all of that. The next day, what was that? Or even straight after when you came out of it, what was your initial feeling and thoughts, and yeah, where were you at that point? Can you help us relive
Oh
that
my
moment?
God, the next day I wanted to remember this experience so much that I started collecting books, reading a meditation, reading books on manifestation. I actually have like some posters on my wall to remind me about uh, thoughts and that thoughts create reality. For example, there's one poster that says, "Your thoughts create the conditions of your life. When you change your thinking, you change your life. Your outer world becomes a mirror image reflection of your inner world." So
Oh,
I
100%.
kept yeah, I kept reminding myself about what I've learned because I never want to forget that. Because this makes me empowered. It's no longer, people always say stuff like, you're no longer a victim of circumstances. It's not about victim anymore. It's more about responsibility. I now have a responsibility to change my life.
Sure, sure.
And because I can now say that, I have the power.
Yes. Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. Love it. Love it. And yeah, so over the next few months, your plan is to continue on this journey. Do you have any, so obviously, and you're channeling as well. Do you have any
Yeah.
do you have any plans to follow any particular out of body techniques at all? And if so, what techniques are you looking at?
So I know Darius, there's a guy on YouTube called Darius.
Oh
I think his name's
yes,
Darius, right? He's
Darius J.
got
Wright.
he's got a couple of yeah, he's got a couple of techniques for out of body experiences.
Yes.
I plan I plan not to have an out of body experience. Not because, like I said, I don't want to see that body. Like, get me away from that body. So I'm trying to be more interested in lucid dreaming
Okay.
than out of body experiences. But you know what? If an out of body experience does occur, I gladly welcome it.
Okay. Okay.
The one thing I now understand is that we are never really alone. Is that we like I know sometimes that we feel sometimes that we like life is harsh and hard and there's nobody out there for us. But the I am always observes, and connecting to the I am has actually made my life easier because now I realize that all the validation that I was seeking, I could get it from the I am because I am is the only reality.
Okay.
It doesn't need anything else to exist because it is existence itself.
Out of curiosity,
Go
why did
ahead.
you name it the I am? Or where did you get that from?
Because I ask it, who am I talking to? And it says, I am.
I am. Okay. And was that
Yeah.
was that auditory or was it like a visual that you got?
No, it was a thought. It was auditory.
Download. Okay.
So
Okay.
like, yeah, it was like a, what do you call it, download.
Yeah.
It said its name.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Do you know, so just because you made me think, I had this lucid dream once, probably about 10 years ago now. And my brother, who actually I'll do an interview with him in a few weeks as well. But my brother, I don't know why we were having this conversation, but he was like, next time you have a lucid dream, ask a question. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do that. And I was out with some friends in London. We had this event that we were doing or whatever. Went to a place afterwards, and I was talking to these three friends about that and that I wanted to have a lucid dream because I was really into lucid dreams back then. And I said, oh, my brother said I should ask a question. And this one guy, Robin, his name is, he looked at me straight in the eye and he goes, do it. When that happens, ask a question. And it just so happened that that night I had this lucid dream. And I asked three questions. And the first question I asked was, um, what is the meaning of this dream? And this text came across my vision. And I always thought it said a dream you like. But it actually said a dream I like. So it's like my subconscious or, higher self or whatever you want to call it, telling me a dream I like, but in the first person. And I thought that was really incredible because straight afterwards I wrote up, like I asked a couple of other questions. As soon as I woke myself up and when I got up, I wrote it all down. Like I wrote it all down on like a Tumblr blog or something. And then, and I would
Nice.
to retell that story and I'd be like, oh, a dream you like, as if it was outside of myself. And then years later, I looked at it and I was like, no, a dream I like. It's me. Like, or it's a part of me. And I thought that was quite an interesting point. So yeah, to hear you say the great I am, it's yeah, quite fitting, really. So yeah. No, but look, Jonadeen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on here. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming on, sharing your story, and just bringing that energy. And I look forward to seeing how this all maps out. Okay. So
Well,
thank you
yeah,
so much.
I'm still working. You're welcome. I'm still working on a blog post, and I'm gonna publish that. It's a blog post about some of the questions and answers that I've gotten from IAM, and yeah, should I leave a contact information or maybe
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you have it up, send it over to me, and I will add it to the description of this so people can read it as well. But yeah, or if you want to leave some details, however you want that to happen, just send them over to me, and we can make that happen as well. All right,
yeah, for sure. That sounds great, Emma.
fantastic, fab. Thank you.
It was nice. It was nice talking to you. Take care, eh?
Take care. I'll just press stop. Wow.